So the first one is called a relation. A relation is a set of ordered pairs. When we're talking about ordered pairs, we're talking about a graph. Just like y'all's x and y intercepts had a coordinate pair, that's what we're talking about. That's called a relation. And the domain is the set of x coordinates. So that's dealing with your x values, and the range is your y values. And what we're going to be doing today for your first learner target is determining if a relation is a function. And this is what makes something a function, is when a relation has each element of the domain paired with exactly one element of the domain, or excuse me, the range. That's called a function. So, right out to the side here, whenever you're determining if something is a function, the only thing that you're going to look at is the domain values. So look at x values. And I'm going to give you two examples of when a relation would not be a function, or one, and then one when it would be. So write this over here, -1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So this is just an example. This would be your domain values. This is your range values. This is what a function would look like, okay? Make sure you draw this. Oops. Sorry, let me start over. Draw it like this. This is what a function would look like. We're just looking at these values on the left. And notice how from each x value there's only one line coming from each number, correct? That's when it is a function. Now, here's an example when it's not a function. So I'm going to circle it and put not. If it was the same numbers, draw this one. If it was the same numbers, but notice how this time in your x values, how many lines are coming from the number -1? 2. That's when it would not be a function. So you only look at the numbers on the left. If there's 1 coming from each value, then it is a function. If there's 2 coming from one value, it is not a function. Okay? Then, once you determine if it's a function, it can be two different types of functions. It could be 1-to-1, and when you're determining this, all you need to look at is the y value. So look at y values. That's all you need to look at, which is going to be in your range. So those are on your right. Now, let's go back to the function part. I said if there's 2 lines coming from an x value, it's not a function, right? To tell if it's 1-to-1, it's the opposite. You look at your y values. Is there 2 lines coming from any of these? No, just 1, right? So it is 1-to-1. Okay? On 2 is really easy to tell. Just put no random y's. No random y's. So for example, just looking at this one, notice how this y value has no friends, nowhere to go. This is called a random y value. So this would not be on 2. But this one, are there any random y values? No, everybody has somewhere to go in the range, right? So this is on 2. Everybody see the difference? Alright, and if it's both, then that means every element in the domain goes to exactly one y value. So every x goes to one y value. That's if it's both of these. Alright. So for 1, 2, and 3, what we're going to do first is just describe the domain and range, or list the domain and range. Now this is really hard, so y'all stay with me, okay? Domain. Tell me all the x values. Just say them out loud of these coordinate points. Okay. For the domain, this is how I want you to list it, is in a vertical line from least to greatest. So what's the smallest x? And then? I know that was really difficult. Same thing for the range. It's just the y values from least to greatest, okay? So what's the smallest y value? And then? Good, but since it's listed twice, we don't have to list it twice in our range, okay? So what would be the next one? And then 7? Very good. So you've just listed the domain and range of a relation. Now, we're going to draw lines to wherever this -6, whatever the y value is, that's where we're going to draw a line to. So the y value for this is what? Good. Go ahead and draw your lines for all of them. Okay? First thing you always want to say or find out is it a function? That's the first thing you always want to do. Now, for a function, we're looking at what values? X values. Good. Looking at X values. And we're checking to see if there's 2 lines coming from one of your X values. So, all of these X values, do they have 2 lines coming from any of them? No. Each one has 1 line coming from each X value, so this is a function. Now, for 1 to 1, you just look at what values? Your y values, and you check the same thing. Is there 2 lines coming from any of your y values? Yes, which one? -9 has 2 lines coming from it, so it is not 1 to 1. On2 is really easy to check. You just look at your y values. Is there any random y that doesn't have anywhere to go? Nope. So it's on2. And that's it. It can't be both, obviously, because it's not 1 to 1. Okay. Any questions about that? All right. Sierra, tell me my domain for the next one listed in order. In least to greatest. You're good. Good. And for my range, Simon, tell me in order from least to greatest.
Wait. What was the y value at the bottom?
Yes.
-2, -1, 0, 1, 2.
Good. These are kind of scribbly, sorry. This is your X values. These are your Y values. Alright, now go ahead and draw whatever lines they go to. I'm going to go ahead and do that too. Alright, first thing you're going to check again is it a function? And what do y'all think? No, because in our X values, which 2 have 2 lines coming from it? 2 and -1. So it's not a function. And we can stop there. Because if it's not a function, it can't be a 1-to-1 function or an on2 function. It's not a function at all, so you can stop there. Does that make sense? Alright, try 3 and 4 on your own. Found the learning targets. Who didn't have one? guys still working? Cool. Alright, you didn't have to draw these because they were already listed in a chart for you, even though this was not in the correct order. That's fine. Is this one a function?
No.
What makes it not a function?
There's 2 from 1.
Good. There's 2 coming from -8. Not a function. Very good. Alright. Is number 4 a function?
Yes.
Yes. Is it 1 to 1? I hear yes and no. Which one? For 1 to 1, you look at what values? Y, and check what? If there's what now? Good. If you have 2 lines coming from a Y value, right? So which one has 2 lines coming from it? The 6, right? So this is not 1 to 1. Is it on 2? What do you look at for on 2? No random Y's. Is there a random Y? Yes. This 8 has no friends. So it's not on 2 either. Does that make sense? So these 2 are the exact same thing, except this one you're checking if there's 2 lines coming from an X. This one if there's 2 lines coming from a Y. Okay? Try 5 on your own. It's a little different. Try 5 on your own. So list the domain and range, then tell me if it's function 1 to 1 on 2. Alright, Hope, tell me the domain. Make sure it's in order. Good. Abigail 1, tell me the range in order.
-1, 2, 3, and 5.
Everybody good with that part? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and connect my lines, but first tell me, Taryn, what is the -2 going to go to? Good, that's what it's paired with. William, what does 1 go with?
2 and 5.
Good. Marilia, what does the 4 go with?
-1.
Alright, is this a function?
No.
Why?
1 goes to
Good, very good. Does everybody understand? We also could have used the vertical line test on this one without writing all this out. Do y'all remember what the vertical line test is, or did y'all go over that?
No.
No? Okay, well, what does vertical mean?
up and down.
Up and down. Good. If y'all forget, that's why I have this nice thing up here. Vertical's up and down. I'm going to write 3 different graphs on here. Don't write this down. Sometimes they won't give you ordered pairs. Sometimes they'll just give you a graph, kind of like this one, even though they kind of told you the ordered pairs, but this is a graph. So let me draw 3 different graphs. Alright, the vertical line test you can use your pencil with, or any line, anything that's up and down. I just use pencil because everybody should have one, or something to write with. What you can do is run your pencil vertically across a graph, and if it touches the pencil in more than one spot, it's not a function. So for example, when I run my pencil across this, is it ever touching my pencil, this part, in more than one spot? No. What about this one? Yes. See how it's touching my pencil in 2 different spots? So this one's not a function. And the reason why is because this x value, say this is -1, right? Wouldn't it have 2 different y values right here? Same x value? That's another way you can tell. Is this one a function? Yes. Very good. Does that make sense? So that's vertical line test. We'll use that more when we get into graphs of polynomials and stuff. Alright. Let's see here. I'm going to hand out your test so y'all can pack up.